The series follows Mrs. Blum, who runs a funeral home she inherited from her deceased adoptive parents, alongside her husband, Mark, a police officer. One morning, Mark gets ready for work at the police station and leaves on his motorbike. Moments later, he is hit by a black car outside their house. Blum rushes to help him, but it seems to be too late. At the hospital, Mark's friend and co-worker, Massimo, tells Blum that Mark had taken the day off, something she didn't know. She begins to wonder why he left the house. Mark dies, and at Mark's funeral, Massimo tells Blum to reach out if she needs anything. She asks him to find the person who hit Mark. During the service, Massimo gives a speech about what a good person Mark was. Mark had once been called to handle an incident involving a Syrian refugee. Instead of arresting the man, he brought him home, and the man Reza now works at the funeral home with Blum. Later, the police inform Blum that Mark's gun is missing. It turns out Reza is hiding it inside the wall of his room. Blum visits a nearby grocery store and realizes the police never checked the security footage related to Mark's case. She confronts the inspector at the station. After she leaves, the inspector is heard narrating the incident over the phone, promising to take care of it. Meanwhile, someone is paid to dispose of a car. Back home, Blum finds a toll ticket and a candy wrapper in Mark's jacket, which raises her suspicions. She recalls a memory of Mark rescuing her after her adoptive parents went missing at sea. Determined to investigate, she picks up Mark's repaired bike and finds a hidden phone with missed calls from someone named Dee. Blum calls the number and reaches a woman who hangs up after hearing that Blum is Mark's wife. The phone also contains a note about a man named Joe Blank and a map leading to a cabin. At the cabin, Blum finds a terrified woman named Dunja. When Blum tells her that Mark is dead, Dunja breaks down, blaming herself and saying they killed him. Dunja tells Blum her story. She and 2 other girls were smuggled into Austria by traffickers. They were moved between cars and told they were heading to a hotel. Dunja later woke up tied up and bloodied in a filthy room, while masked men abused and photographed the other girls with Polaroids. She managed to escape and reached a toll booth for help. That's how Mark learned about her, and he had started investigating the case. Dunja warns Blum that the police can't be trusted. Blum brings Dunja to her house to keep her safe. Blum begins tracking down people who use Polaroid cameras. She checks a camera shop, trying to trace the photographer. The shopkeeper points her toward a local art gallery in Innsbruck. There, Blum learns that Edwin Sconborn is a Polaroid photographer. He's also the man from the car in Dunja's story. Dunja recognizes both him and the car but urges Blum to stop digging. Edwin is the son of the most powerful family in town, the Sconborns, who own significant property and are planning to open a ski resort, but Blum doesn't stop. She pretends to be a model named Eva and arranges a meeting with Edwin. She even practices using a taser on a corpse. When they meet, Edwin is on a call with his mother discussing a major land deal and an upcoming breakfast meeting. He takes photos of Blum and quickly becomes creepy. Blum pretends to be into violent fantasies, which unsettles Edwin. When she accuses him of knowing Dunja, he threatens her. She fights back and overpowers him. Blum traps an unconscious Edwin in a coffin-sized container and drives him to her funeral home. Reza sees her but believes her excuse about transporting zinc. Blum rushes through dinner, secretly checking on Edwin, who is shouting for help inside the casing. By the time she opens it, he's dead. She tries CPR but fails. Using Edwin's face to unlock his phone, Blum finds a message from his mother about a breakfast meeting. She also photographs a strange mark on his leg. It matches the one she saw on Pastor Jonig at Mark's funeral. Blum then dismembers Edwin and hides his body in separate coffins. The next day, Blum remembers Edwin's camera contains her pictures. She breaks into his house to retrieve it but hides when Mrs. Sconborn arrives. Blum overhears her blaming Mr. Thiel for sabotaging their ski resort project. Back at the funeral home, Mr. Thiel, who is terminally ill, is picking out a coffin. Reza urges Blum to get her act together and focus on the business. While deleting the photos from Edwin's camera, Blum finds images of Mrs. Sconborn and Father Jonig. Dunja doesn't recognize Jonig's face. But when Blum calls him and lets Dunja hear his voice, she thinks he might have been the man in the rabbit mask. To make Jonig reveal himself, Blum takes Edwin's car and parks it outside Jonig's house. In the morning, Jonig sees the car and texts Edwin's phone. Blum, pretending to be Edwin, arranges a meeting with the group after Mass. After the service, Blum hides and sees Bertel Puck, a restaurant owner, meet with Jonig. Puck is angry Edwin didn't show up. Later, Blum goes to Jonig's home and asks to confess. She admits to murder and accuses him of abusing girls. When he denies it, she tasers him, ties him up, and interrogates him. He eventually claims he convinced her adoptive parents to take her in. Even though they never wanted her, furious, Blum douses him in gasoline and burns him alive. Later, Blum drinks at a bar and ends up kissing Massimo in his police van, but pulls away. At Johnny's funeral, she notices a photo of young boys wearing the same symbol found on both Edwin and Johnny. It's a Boy Scout emblem. Overwhelmed, she throws up. Massimo finds her, and she asks him to trace the license plate of the car. Blum has a very dark past. Her adoptive father taught her the art of embalming from a young age. If she failed to sew a corpse's mouth shut, he would force her to lie inside a coffin, while her mother silently watched. Resentful and traumatized, Blum killed them during a family vacation. To take revenge for their cruelty, teenage Blum removed the ladder on a boat and listened to music as her adoptive parents struggled in the water, ultimately letting them drown. In the present, Blum visits Bertil Puck's restaurant, drugs him, and accuses him of being involved in her husband's murder. However, Puck overpowers her, stabs her in the leg, and locks her in the restaurant's cold storage. Bleeding and trapped, Blum makes a desperate call for help. Reza finds Blum locked in the freezer at Puck's restaurant and Puck unconscious nearby. When Puck suddenly wakes up, Reza shoots him using Mark's gun, something that shocks Blum. Puck claims that Mark gave him the gun to protect Blum before he died. Reza treats Blum's wound and helps remove Puck's body. The police begin searching Puck's restaurant and find blood in an earring, which Massimo keeps. Blum visits Mr. Thiel, who tells her his daughter disappeared after dating Sebastian Hackspiel, a friend of the Sconborns. Blum tracks Hackspiel down, but he claims to only do odd jobs for Mrs. Sconborn. As her leg bleeds, she passes out. Hackspiel takes her to the hospital. Meanwhile, Massimo and Inspector Dansberger suspect Blum is involved in recent events, including her parents' deaths. Blum wakes up and texts Edwin's group to calm them. Her doctor turns out to be part of the abuse ring and tries to kill her with a high insulin dose, revealing he let Mark die. Blum saves herself with a can of cola and strangles the doctor when he returns. Once again, Reza arrives and helps dispose of the body. Hackspiel returns with a USB containing a video of the abuse Dunja endured. He warns Blum to use it if anything happens to him and admits he did dirty work for the Sconborns. Blum watches the footage and considers going to the police. Just then, Inspector Dansberger arrives, asking her to come in for questioning. Blum is questioned at the police station about her links to Father Jonig and Edwin's disappearance. She denies involvement, and Massimo provides her with an alibi, claiming she was with him upsetting his colleague. Inspector Dansberger, Blum and Reza worry about being caught and decide to destroy the evidence. Meanwhile, Hackspiel threatens Mrs. Sconborn with the video showing the past crime, confirming Edwin was also involved in Gerda, Mr. Thiel's daughter's, disappearance. Massimo invites Blum over for dinner. He gives her back her missing earring, found at Puck's restaurant. They nearly kiss, but Blum backs away when she sees the Boy Scout mark on his skin, realizing he's one of them. Meanwhile, Reza discovers there were 5 abusers, not 4, and figures out Massimo is the 5th. Massimo confesses everything to Blum. He killed Mark to protect the group's secret and also murdered Dunja. When Blum tries to shoot him, the gun is empty. Massimo had removed the bullets. He knocks her out. A flashback shows young versions of Massimo, Puck, Father Jonig, and the doctor. They assault Gerda Thiel in a cable car. Young Massimo ultimately kills her, and the boys brand themselves with a symbol to seal their pact of secrecy. In the present, Massimo takes Blum to the Zoblanktop station, locks her in a hatch with the corpses of 2 other victims, and plans to burn her alive. Reza shows up just in time. As Massimo is distracted, Blum escapes, stabs him with a bone, and kills him. The police later search Massimo's home and find evidence of his crimes. Blum confronts Mrs. Sconborn, telling her to leave her family alone, using the video as leverage. Sconborn, though mourning her son Edwin, agrees. The Sconborn company is now partly controlled by a new investor, who subtly threatens her power. Back home, Blum shares dinner with Reza, her children, and friends. In a flashback, Mark reveals he always knew Blum had killed her parents, but accepted it. That's why she loved him so much and went to all lengths to avenge the death of the man who, for the first time, showed a cold-blooded woman like her what love truly is.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe and like for more videos like this.